Chapter 1. Emry Merlin hurried through the dark London streets, cursing her good-for-nothing brother. Of course he'd pick a night like this to cause trouble. What had started as a tentative drizzle was now an enthusiastic downpour, and Emry shivered beneath her wet cloak as she squelched her way down the Strand. Half an hour ago, she'd been lying in bed reading a novel about love-crossed pirates. Then a castle guard had knocked on her door, concerned that Emmett still hadn't returned from the tavern. "I think something's wrong," Tristan had told her. He had this tortured look, like he was going off to do something reckless. But reckless shouldn't take 4 hours. No, it shouldn't. Emry had lowered her book and considered the young, frowning guard with a sigh. "Do you know which tavern?" "He said he was headed to the Tipsy Merchant." She knew it, but only by reputation. The tavern was a haunt of the city's rougher types, petty criminals, labourers spoiling for a fight, and the occasional guard when they had coin to lose, and when they didn't, but couldn't help gambling anyway. "I'm going after him." Tristan had blanched. "By yourself?" "I'm a wizard. But you're also a lady, and it ain't safe down that way late at night." Emry had assured him that she'd taken precautions. And I have, she thought. Under her sodden cloak, she wore a boy's tunic and hose. Her dark hair, which fell just below her chin these days, was tucked beneath a hat. It was a hasty disguise, and one that wouldn't hold up on close inspection, but still. It was better than traipsing through the city, not to mention the mud, in skirts. As she walked, she considered creative ways to torment her brother if it turned out nothing was actually the matter. Death by 1,000 parchment cuts was currently winning. Honestly, there was mud inside her boots. Emry drew her cloak tighter around her shoulders as a gust of cold air cut through the wet fabric. Between the late hour and the rain, London's streets were empty. The merchants' shops were boarded up for the night, and not even the vendors were out with their carts and wares. Even though she'd lived at the castle as herself for more than a month now, there hadn't been many opportunities to venture beyond its walls. The city still felt new to her, a living thing full of dangerous turns and secrets tucked into the shadows. But dangerous and secret were two things that had never intimidated her, and she wasn't going to let them start now. Especially since Tristan had called her a lady. She wasn't anything like the fashionable court ladies in their low-cut gowns who made pleasant conversation about the weather. But that's what she got for being the sole female apprentice at Castle Camelot, training to be the prince's own court wizard. Meanwhile, Emmett had settled in easily, strutting the corridors in his courtier's finest, nodding hello to every lad his age, and not bothering to magic away the telltale lady's perfume that often clung to his jacket. He had never needed to pretend to be anyone other than who he was, the great wizard Merlin's son and rightful heir. It was his unshakable confidence that so often led him to trouble, and it was Emry who so often got him out of it. Yet she was the one the king had placed on probation. Her cheeks burned with resentment when she thought about it. How King Uther had summoned her to his apartments 2 days after she and Arthur had nearly died at the hands of Morgana Le Fay. The king's icy glare as he'd accused her of encouraging Arthur to seek out life-threatening danger.
"Since you share your father's talent for magic, you may remain an apprentice, for now,"
the king had allowed, his eyes dark with malice.
"But give me a reason, and you're gone."
She had gritted her teeth and mumbled that she understood, even though what she really understood was that she still hadn't proven herself, despite everything she'd done.
"Remember your place, girl,"
Uther had warned as she sank into a curtsy.
"And stay the hell away from my son."
So she'd avoided Arthur in the corridors, pretending she didn't see his hurt and confusion.